Sahana bhavatu sahana punatu sahaviryam haravahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We studied how the value that we give anything is determined by
Thoughts.
determined by
Our thoughts.
not just don't say our thoughts. Determined by the value we give something is determined by
the thought flow in that direction.
the amount of thoughts that have gone in that direction. Because if you just answer the question by saying thought, that makes no sense because it is the value I give. So normally, obviously, that's my thought, right? So that's begging the question. So you say the value that I see in something is proportional to the amount of thought invested in it. The more thoughts I have invested in it, the more valuable will that thing appear to be. Now, if anything happens because of which I cannot have access to that thing, this thing will be heartbreaking for me because it's an extremely valuable thing that I no longer have. Mahesh, do you have a question?
Yeah, sorry, I wanted to ask that before class, but I'll just. Independent happiness is what one should strive for. So I just wanted to know what stage does one attain independent happiness? It is it has been clearly mentioned that you have to work hard for it. It has to be earned more than, you are entitled. But what I meant was, is it something that you achieve after, after a long time? I mean, is it a very advanced stage of mind, or does that can that happen much earlier? Or is it like renunciation where you have to really be sort of spiritually developed to be a renunciate? So this independent happiness, is it a very advanced stage?
Why is your video off?
I am hosting it, so.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know what's the connection, but if there's a connection, fine. Is independent happiness an advanced state? Firstly, Mahesh, we said that it was said in the class that we should develop independent happiness. This statement is not true. Nobody is saying you should develop independent happiness. Nobody is advising you to develop independent happiness. All that is being said, which is a matter of fact, is that if you do not have independent happiness, if your happiness is dependent, then when something happens to that object, you will not be happy. That is all that is being said. Now, is this a very advanced stage? It is not a stage. It is a matter of cause and effect. If you have put your thoughts into something and that thing is no longer available to you, you will not be able to rest content. So you are already enjoying independent happiness. You are independent of millions of things because you never put any thought behind it. Most of us are enjoying independent happiness with reference to the self. The self is not there. It is not worrying us the least bit. Most of us are enjoying independent happiness from nobility. Being noble is not there, and we are perfectly happy with it. Most of us are enjoying the happiness of lack of self-development. We are very happy with it. So it's 99% of this world you are independently happy of. You get that, right? It's just a cause and effect thing. 99.9% of the things available in this world, 0.9 recurring, you enjoy independent happiness about. That's why the great Socrates, he went to the market a lot. He would do window shopping. So somebody asked him, you have always espoused a simple life. Why are you going to the market? So he says, I go there and I see how many things there are in this world without which one can be entirely happy. 99.9% recurring, Mahesh, you have independent happiness from. Your problems are not created by those things. Your problems are created by the things where you have dependent happiness. So is it a very high stage? Why do we need to have an opinion on this? If you have had investment of thought into something over which you have no control, if that thing is no longer available, you will be miserable. Just a matter of fact.
What I understood was that in independent happiness, you have a certain center of happiness, which is unaffected by all the, sort of the ups and downs of life. So I understood independent happiness as being a sort of, you're centered on your happiness, and all the they're just like waves on the surface of the water, that they don't trouble your central happiness, which is independent of these things. That's what I understood independent happiness as. That's not right. Is it?
Yeah, it's just, we love to make everything into a superstition. If we have this creation of these views, it's just a simple cause and effect law.
Okay, so my understanding of independent happiness was not correct. I mean, if it is
I
just
wouldn't even say that those words are correct. But what is the point now is, are you not enjoying independent happiness out of billions of things that exist in this world? You already are enjoying independent happiness.
yeah, my understanding was not independent of, it was more like uh, uh, of not independent of particular things, but it is independent of the things that we normally go through life in. Independent. I mean, it's not independent. I mean, it's not dependent. But what I thought was that, to reach a stage where you are perfectly content and happy seemed like a difficult thing to do. So in the beginning you are dependent.
You're unnecessarily creating black and white where none exists. Just understand the law. As long as you have invested thought in it, you will not be able to be happy if that object is not there. As long as you've done this. And if you have not invested thought, you are absolutely unconcerned with that object being there or not there. Take any mother. The mother is completely dependent upon her child. Billions of other children in this world makes no difference to her. She's totally independently happy of them. It's just a matter of where your thoughts are invested. If you
Okay.
invest your thoughts in impermanent objects, when the impermanence of that object is seen, is experienced, you will experience sorrow.
Okay. So, I mean, if you strive for nobility and all the, say, the 20 qualities of a jnani, and, I didn't mean you're independent. I would say that those were you were lacking in that rather than being independent of. You were lacking in a quality of humility or independent. I thought was like the material objects, what the mind strives after. One is independent of those. Those.
How? How? Your mind is striving after something and you're going to be independent of it. How is that possible?
No, what I meant was I thought independent was those things you're independent of is which your mind indulges in, and not independent of qualities of you're lacking those qualities. I would put it that way more than independent of. But since you don't lack
I'm
those,
not able to understand what you're saying.
okay, that's fine. Maybe I'm stretching this too much. I'll think over it. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Hold on to the idea that of cause and effect. Forget all, forget opinions. Try to just get away from opinions and hold on to cause and effect. And then just life becomes simpler. We don't want to have an opinion on it. I mean, you can't not have an opinion, but just avoid opinions as far as possible, especially in philosophical discussion. Bharat. In love, there is thought investment. How do we explain independent happiness in it? Bharat, are you talking about pure love?
Yes, there's only one kind of love, right?
Yes, I mean, but people don't mean pure love when they use the word love. When someone comes and tells you, I've fallen in love, they are not talking about love. But if you are referring to pure love, where is the thought investment? There is no thought investment. Thought investment, why does thought investment happen? Thought investment happens because you believe that you are incomplete in some way, and this object or being, whatever it is going to complete you in some way or the other. Nilufer, you started screen sharing? How did that happen?
Sorry, totally unintentional.
But how did that happen is also, I suppose, IT is always a mystery. Nobody knows what will happen here. So how do we explain independent happiness? There's independent happiness because there's no thought investment. It's that simple. There's a cause and effect relationship here. If you have invested thought in it, that the presence or absence of that object will have to have an emotional impact on you.
When we say we have to identify with a loved one, so you are assessing the person's personality, right? And so there is thought investment in it, right?
1 second. Just say your sentence again. You see whether you repeat your sentence. See whether you see what you're saying.
Okay, when we say that we have to identify with a loved one, there's need for assessment of the personality. So
Any connection between identification and assessment?
there isn't.
You tell me, what does the word identification mean? What does the word assessment mean?
Identification, I guess, equals love.
Identification means you feel one with the other person. That's it. Now, assessment doesn't come into this. Your emotional feeling of oneness, where does assessment come? Now that you're feeling a sense of emotional oneness, you may also assess or you may not assess, whatever that is. But assessment and identification are two different factors from two different aspects of your personality.
Okay, so in assessment also there's no thought investment in the sense, or it's rational.
See, now once you've divided it, you don't have a problem.
Okay, so as far as rational thought investments go, there's no problem with it.
So you tell me, if your intellect thinks about something, can you create a desire?
No. Okay, thanks.
Taruna, you have a question?
Yes, Janki. My first question is thought investment means indiscriminate thought?
Yes.
Okay, so then it answers my second question because I wrote, is thought investment optional? So when you apply your intellect, in that case, it is optional. Is that correct?
And optional means all thought investment is optional. Even when your mind is doing it, it's optional. I don't know. The option is
Uh,
always with you, right?
Right. So I was when Mahesh started. So my question is that is it are we helplessly investing our thoughts, whether we use it discretion or without? Thoughts are bound to be invested, or it goes to the object. So that is unavoidable.
No. Why unavoidable? Why are we victimized by our own minds or intellects? You have decided to think about something. And you must,
Anita?
or
At
not.
class.
Why is it unavoidable? It becomes unavoidable because of previous thought investment. But your original thought investment, you had a choice. But you chose a default option, or you chose to think about it, and now it's become a massive bugbear on you. That is the critical thing to understand, right? I have done this in the past, so now this has become a big problem for me at the mental level.
Right. So we see it as unavoidable, or as if there is no option, but there is an option.
Now you may not have an option, but you always had an option.
Had an option.
Now you have an option also, but every time you exert that option, it will be painful for you.
We have an option to discriminately think about something, but we do not have an option in the sense that thoughts will go to some or the other thing. It could be higher, lower, or anything. So as of now, this option is not available with us. No, that thing,
Means
your thoughts will.
you can't make that law. That means nobody can sit in silence.
Right. Right.
When you're making a philosophical law, it has to be all,
Um,
or you have to say for this.
right. For us or for me, currently it is not an option in that sense.
Yeah.
Is that the right statement?
That for those with desires, me or you doesn't matter. For those with desires, it will become more and more difficult. Even you, can you not sit in silence for 30 seconds? Everybody can, I'm sure. At least from me. So
Right.
how is it non-option?
Right. Got it.
Aditi. Following the question answers, I'm totally confused about what is actually independent happiness. Not following the conversation. Now, what shall I do about that, Aditi? I think we can just continue with the text because this much you hold on to. Very simple. It's a simple thing. As long as you invest thought into something, the presence or absence of that thing will matter to you. When it matters to you, you will believe genuinely, sincerely, and from the bottom of your heart that that object is whatever it is you have thought about it. This is all that we need to know. That it's very important, that it's very bad, that it's this, that it's that. No, some people look at you, they'll say, oh my God, you're such a wonderful person. Some people look at you and say, you're so horrible, you're so this, you're so that. Are you horrible? Are you good? What are you? All depends on how that person has been thinking. If that person has met you with expectations and you have not fulfilled those expectations, that person will dislike you. If the person has met you with service or with good vasanas, that person will think, oh, what a nice person. Nothing to do with you. Neither the person who says good about us nor the person who says bad about us has got anything to do with us at all in the first place. You meet expectations, you're a wonderful person. You don't meet those expectations, you're a horrible person. And this can happen multiple times in the same day, depending on how irrational the person is. So, how does it? Okay, bottom line is what? If you invest thought into something, the presence or absence of this thing will appear as a very important thing to you. That's all it's saying.
So Janki, that has also got to do with higher goals, right? Self-development. So if you've invested your thought in that, that could also take away the independent happiness, right?
Well, yes, yes and no. The thing is, it depends on what you've invested thought in. If you invest thought into something, the presence or that absence of that thing will matter a lot. For ease and comprehension, let's say absence, because absence is easy to understand. So the absence of that thing will matter a lot. Now, suppose you've invested thought in something of a more permanent nature. Now, that is not getting absent, so you're doing fine. You're doing better than a person who's invested thought in something extremely impermanent, and therefore that thing has changed. So, therefore, a person who has invested thought in things of a higher nature will generally be more calm, more peaceful, more happy than a person who has invested in the lower things. However, if this thing, whatever permanent thing was, now the permanent also is for a period of time, right? So let's say that thing was permanent for 10 years. Then after 10 years, now that is gone away. Again, this person will have the same result that the other person had, because the result has come out of the absence of the thing they're invested in. That is why a sensible person will invest thought in only one thing, which is
The self.
The self.
this is the only thing that's permanent, everything else is going. It's a question of time.
So Janki, if you have invested a thought in something which is of the higher nature, but you are struggling to reach that particular goal, doesn't that also take you away from the independent happiness? Because
you haven't invested yet. You're trying to invest. You're saying, that's what you're saying. I haven't reached.
yes,
So therefore, whatever is the thing that you value at the moment, its absence will keep on bothering. When people say, oh, I want to develop myself, bottom line is what? But my husband has been horrible to me and I don't want to feel so horrible because he's horrible to me. That means my values have still not gone up. I'm still concerned about it. That's what it means, right?
yes.
I keep to cause and effect because that's a much easier way of looking at things. When we say keep to rationality, then people, I don't know what, everybody, I don't know what is understood. Now, I think a better terminology is keep to cause and effect because there's less opinions here.
Thank you.
Okay, so shall we proceed? So we ended with why mother's love has become such a strong symbol. Even religious beliefs are extremely strong. Political beliefs, very strong. Because people, they take off on these religious things or whatever, religious things, political things. Mine just takes off. If you don't believe me, watch a small portion of the election speeches of both the Democrats and the Republicans. Watch. See the mind taking off. Oh, you're a horrible person. You're a horrible person. You are the worst horrible person. You are the worst horrible person. It's that person may genuinely think so. That is what you have to get. They may be faking it, or they may genuinely think so. If they're faking it, that's fine. But if they genuinely think so, you have to understand why is that. All the time thinking negative about the other person. All the time. So if you're in religion X, religion Y is horrible, horrible. Everything that happens, you will attribute to religion Y. If you're in party X, you will do it for party Y. If you are X community, you'll do it for community Y. And then there are extremely strong emotions generated out of this. Rationality has gone out of the window a long, long time ago. But as a philosopher, what you understand is how did this happen? It's just those rolling thoughts. That's what you have to get. If you get it, you got it. Oh, it seems so important. Whenever anything seems very important to you, please ask yourself this question. Is this thing genuinely important? Or is it just irrational thought being invested in it more and more and more? Is it genuinely important? How do I determine whether it is important? So then we go to, we finish that, right? Now we go to, hello, is there happiness out there? Okay. So obviously, after hearing all this, you'll say, hello, is there any happiness out there? Or is it just my thoughts? So let's see. Happiness is not a feature of any object. It is a subjective feeling. Some people possess a great deal, but happiness seems to elude them. Some have nothing, but manage to stay equanimous. Their flame of happiness is bright and strong. Have you noticed this? There are, even forget whether you have more or you have less. People who have exactly the same, in your same socio-economic condition, whatever you're currently living in. Don't you see that some people are generally happier than some other people? In the same party, some people are happier than others. In the same house, some people are happier than other people. Some people they're happy people. I would like to think that many people in this class would fall in this category where in their own house, enjoying or not enjoying the same things that the other people are enjoying or not enjoying, they tend to take it easier than the others. At least I hope so. I have no way of knowing. So their flame of happiness is bright and strong. Besides, people at the same level of material plenty are not equally happy, and neither are those at the same level of material lack. All equally miserable. Isn't it? We also have material lack. It's not like we have got everything in the world. And we have plenty also because we have plenty of some things. But at the same level also, there are other things. Further, people having entirely different lives may be equally happy. That's another thing, no? Entirely different life. Both are equally happy. We behave as if the object is very important. But there is no such thing as a happy object or an unhappy object. It is us who are happy or unhappy. The object is neutral. It is neither the cause of pleasure nor of pain. It is all in the mind. Take an apple. To some, it gives joy. To others, it gives sorrow. Some people like an apple. They say, oh, great, I love it. Some people don't like apples. No, I don't want. To some, it gives joy. To others, it gives sorrow. For Newton, apparently, it triggered knowledge. That same apple. For Newton, it triggered knowledge. He got the 3 laws of motion, we are told. So, is the apple itself pleasure or pain or knowledge? None of them. Those qualities or associations belong to the person who comes in contact with the apple. The apple is neutral. If it had a sense of humor, it would have a merry laugh at the attributes we simple-minded humans ascribe to it. It would laugh at us, not that apple. Some people are saying I'm very good. Some people I'm saying I'm very bad. Some people are learning so much out of me. Simple-minded human beings. Why can we not gain happiness from the objects of the world? Simply because it does not exist there. Simple, right? Nothing complicated. Counterintuitive. नशा शराब में होता तो नाचती बॉटल. Correct. Bollywood philosophy, right. Counterintuitive as it may sound, this is a fact of life. We see an object, it seems very attractive. Suddenly we take a leap of logic that were we to have it, we would be very happy. We won't. You realize now what is going on? You see something, it looks very attractive. And then you decide that if I want to have this thing, then I will be a very happy person. How did this leap of logic take place? Even the other way around. I see something, I do not find it attractive. So I feel I'll be very happy if I run away from this thing. No, that object has got nothing to do with my happiness and unhappiness. Why? Because happiness is not inherent in that object. If happiness was inherent in it, then that object would make everyone happy. But the object doesn't make everyone happy. Fire is hot. Its heat can be felt by anybody. Sugar is sweet. Anybody can taste it. Thus, we can conclude that the fire causes heat or the sugar causes sweetness. Right? Because same for everybody. So you can say the cause is there. However, this is not so with an object. Oops, that's a mistake. This is not so with the pleasure of an object. An object may give pleasure to one and displeasure to another. A cigarette gives pleasure to one and displeasure to another. A man gives joy to his friend and unhappiness to his enemy. A girl may be the darling of her mother, but the bane of her mother-in-law. Not only do different people experience objects differently, but the person himself also experiences the same object differently. One day you are the love of my life, one day you are the hate of my life. And if you don't believe me, you go to any of the family courts where this divorces are taking place. Same person. One day I cannot live with you, one day I cannot live without you. Same. This is the nature of the immature mind. You cannot stick to a stance for the reason that none of these stances Finish the sentence. None of these stanzas are
Based on cause and effect.
very good. Are discriminate. Every day a different view on things. So not only does the same object not cause the same pleasure and pain with everybody, but even to the same person, it's not the same pleasure and pain. An object may be pleasurable to a person at one time, but on another occasion, it may give him no pleasure. This is amply demonstrated in love marriages ending in divorce. The toys of childhood give no joy to the adult. Hence, happiness does not reside in the object and thus cannot be found there. Take a couple of moments to just digest this much. You understood the logic, right? Anybody didn't understand the logic? Okay, let's continue. Hence, happiness does not reside in the object and thus cannot be found there. And yet, we seem to subconsciously divide objects into two kinds: happy objects and unhappy objects. Happy objects are those that give us happiness. Unhappy objects are those that give us unhappiness. Happy objects are cars and houses and jewelry and clothes and second homes and mobile phones and mansions and luxury vacations and such. Or friends and children and partners. Sometimes it is health, hair, or reputation. Unhappy objects are death and disaster, and weight and taxes, and traffic and criticism, and inflation, etc. So in our minds, don't we have this division? These are happy things and these are unhappy things. If I get the happy things, I'm going to be very happy. And if I get these unhappy things, I'm going to be very unhappy. Happiness is assumed to be the acquisition of happy objects. Often we are quite enamored with these happy objects and believe that the more of them we have, the happier we will be. Let us examine this theory. We have decided these are all happy objects. Meaning happy object means if these were there, then I'm going to be happy. And these are all unhappy objects. And if they are there, I'm going to be unhappy. But the interesting thing is the same object may be in these two categories at two different points of time. At one point, your partner is the love of your life. At the other point, he's the hate of your life. Same person in two different categories for the same person. Just a matter of time. So, since we all are so eager to acquire the happy objects, and run away from the unhappy objects. Let us examine this theory. The dangers of acquisition, the pitfalls of pleasure. Everybody's okay so far, right? I hope you're able to, no problem in the logic, right? No disagreement, no problem, no saying, no, all this is not correct. All okay? Come, Mahesh. The dangers of acquisition, the pitfalls of pleasure. What is the correlation between having something and being happy? Remember, we are analyzing this theory. What was our theory? Which is a
That
theory?
happiness or unhappiness is in the object.
Okay, not really that. What was the, just now, what was the theory?
I get more happy objects, I'll be happy.
When I get the happy objects, I'll be happy. Correct. And if I can get rid of the unhappy objects, I will be happy. Right? Means my unhappiness will go away. So we are examining this theory. Very good, Vidisha. So dangers of acquisition, the pitfalls of pleasure. What is the correlation between having something and being happy? Prima facie, it seems self-evident. If one didn't have a car and got it, he would be happy. If one didn't have a roof over one's head and got one, she would be happy. It is this initial pleasure that leads us astray in our estimation of happiness. Upon obtaining what is pleasant, we no doubt get a spike in happiness. But unfortunately, it does not last long. How do last year's fashions seem to us now? We longed for them last year. You have to stop and think about this. Do you remember something that you longed for? How does it feel now? You have to feel that longing which you felt at that time. And remember that in its full intensity. And understand, what am I feeling about it now? The problem is we suffer from amnesia. We forget. We forget that longing, that craving, that feeling, I have to get this. And then we're on to something else. But recollect that. And see it in the juxtaposition of this feeling that you have towards it. Upon obtaining what is pleasant, we no doubt get a spike in happiness. But unfortunately, it does not last long. How do last year's fashions seem to us now? We longed for them last year. How does the car feel after one has had it for a few years? Will happiness forever be just one more spike attained after tremendous effort? Is it even worth it? Mamita, this inconsistent feeling can be related to gunas. No, Mamita, why did you bring gunas in? Follow this line of. First and foremost, let us just establish what is going on. Then why it is going on, we will figure out later on. But now we're only establishing, is this true? That the same object at one time was a happy object and at another time was an unhappy object. You can remember the longing, the wanting, the pleasure, and the feeling now. You can remember this. It's very difficult to remember. That's the problem. We suffer from amnesia. Just want to establish some facts.
No, we remember, but that's true for us because we have, like the vast majority of us have The lower guna, like tamasik, rajasic.
Don't go there. Just follow this line of thought. Because all we're doing is establishing some facts. You can
Right.
use different words. So, but that doesn't give us the comprehension. Just let's go by every cause and effect that we can think of. Gunas is a mere classification, so it's irrelevant at this juncture.
Okay.
Bharat, if the intellect were to contact an object, a completely new one, and derive satisfaction from it, there is no previous experience of an object. Can such a scenario exist? Bharat, what is happening to you today? Does the intellect ever derive satisfaction? Does it have the capacity to derive satisfaction?
Yeah, the mind derives it.
Right.
Yeah,
So
but-
stick to that. You can't. Intellect doesn't understand. You say go to Mr. Say to intellect and say, Mr. Intellect, are you satisfied? He won't know what you're talking about. It's not a feeling, right? So if the intellect were to contact an object, a completely new one, and derive satisfaction from it, no, that is not possible. This itself is not possible. But what you can say is, if a person were to contact a brand new object and gain satisfaction from it, can such a scenario exist? We can change your question if you permit us. Do you permit us?
Gee, but I mean, what is the person supposed to mean?
The mind.
Is it
Always
okay?
Only mind derives satisfaction unless it is a physical satisfaction. That's also possible. Physical in the sense the body has had some experience, but satisfaction as a feeling is the mind. You want to change it to, if the mind were to contact an object, a completely new one, and derive satisfaction from it, there is no previous experience of the object. Can such a scenario exist? Can we change that?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Bharat, you do not know this because you have not met a girl and fallen in love with her. You have, what is love is at first sight? New, no? Brand new. Never saw this person before. I look at this person and I've fallen in love. Possibly. Can such a scenario exist? Somebody has never tasted alcohol in their life before. They had it and they loved it. You never eaten sizzler before. You had it and you loved it. Why is that not possible?
Yeah, when we change the question, it becomes obvious.
But if you don't change the question, then we will stop it at line 1 only. I'm not trying to change your question, but do you accept that intellect doesn't feel satisfaction or not?
So any pursuit of knowledge also, the satisfaction always remains with the mind only. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Mind can enjoy physical things, can enjoy emotional things, or can enjoy intellectual. All three, the enjoyment is the mind.
Okay. Thank you.
Let's continue. So, will happiness forever be just one more spike, attained after tremendous effort? Is it even worth it? You notice what is happening in life? Each time there's something else. You get that something else. You got very happy. Then after some time, nothing. And again, you get something else. You get that, I'll be happy. What is going on? Yet it seems so obvious. Voices become softer. Okay. Yet it seems so obvious. that getting happy objects is equivalent to gaining happiness. The two seem the same, indistinguishable. However, pause to analyze how happiness is created. To enjoy an object, 7 factors must fortuitously coincide. And we're quite lucky, if all 7 coincide. But these 7 have to coincide if you have to enjoy the object. What are these? Number 1, value. Unless there is a desire for it in the mind, an object cannot be enjoyed. A bottle of Bordeaux, 1945, is not of much use to an Indian villager, but is a delight to a wine-loving Frenchman. 1945 was supposed to be one of the better years. So it was in 1945 Bordeaux. For somebody, my God, it means so much. But to give it to somebody who doesn't know what it is, what does it mean? Physical capacity. If one has a desire, the body must be fit to enjoy the object. An ill person or an old person cannot enjoy many things. Non-distraction. The mind needs to be present to enjoy. Contradictory desires interrupt pleasure. Our conditioning regarding morality, wealth, guilt, etc. may interrupt our capacity to enjoy. Work pressures, priorities, or distractions can inhibit enjoyment. Haven't you ever seen that? You may have eaten a meal, maybe your favorite meal, and not noticed because your mind was on the work you had to do. With some stress at work, and you walloped off a meal which is enjoyable to you. Right? So, what have you got so much value? To enjoy it, firstly, you have to value it. Secondly, the body must have the capacity to enjoy it. Thirdly, the mind hasn't to go anywhere else. Fourthly, availability. Even if the body and mind are available, the object must also be present for enjoyment to take place. Isn't it? You have value for it, you have capacity for it, you're not distracted from it, but the object is not there. How will you enjoy? A youngster may have a fit body, but may not be able to afford what he enjoys. As the Marathi saying goes, when one has teeth, one doesn't have chana. And when one has chana, one doesn't have teeth. Contact. There must be an actual contact between the individual and the object. Suppose you have a value for an iPhone. Okay? Then you have the capacity to enjoy it. Your mind is not distracted from that iPhone by other things. The thing is available also. It's in the store. It's available. Contact. There must be actual contact between the individual and the object. Bharat, you have a question?
Yes. So the answer to my question was that the mind has the capability of contacting a completely new thing and yet enjoying it. But for point 1 value says that unless you have a desire for it in the mind, you cannot enjoy it. Is there a contradiction?
You tell me. If there is is there a contradiction? Anyone in the class wants to tell us if there is a contradiction?
No,
Why not?
I mean, it is not saying that you contact any object for the first time and you derive value. It is that you already have the desire, but that contact just hasn't been made, and you made first contact and you enjoyed it.
Very good. Is that satisfying to you, Bharat?
If I've not even heard about the object, how can I have a desire for it?
then no child can ever have any desire because it's never heard of anything.
Also, novelty itself is a attractive thing. That's a value.
Yeah, but only if you have a desire for that. We have to now assume, Bharat's question is that this particular object I have never had, why would I enjoy it? And I've never heard of it. So why would I now enjoy it? So you have to enjoy what? You can only enjoy what?
But we do have a value for something novel, something we haven't experienced before.
Okay, but that's a desire, right? So you have that. Or you may not have it. If you have a desire for novelty and this is new, then a desire is being fulfilled. But if you
His question is that how can I have a desire for something I've never encountered before? But novelty itself is likable.
you know why you can argue and say, I'm not interested in novelty. You can't make it a universal law.
It is though, like a lot of happiness comes from from unexpectedness, from something novel, something new, which we haven't tried.
That. There are many people who don't want novel, they just want the old thing again. And I know, I mean, even I've noticed some of us, every new cuisine that comes, we want to taste what is it, what is Korean, what is Mongolian, what is Japanese cuisine. I know a person who you put any cuisine of any name in front of him. You also know that person. He only likes Indian. And he'll eat it if you give it to him, but there's no way he's going to enjoy it. He will eat it, I mean, just to not make a fuss in public. But he doesn't want it. I don't want to mention the name, you know the person. But he doesn't want it. He absolutely doesn't want it. You say, no, try Japanese. He'll eat it if you put it in front of him, he'll eat it. Never going to say he likes it. So we cannot escape Bharat's question. Bharat's question is, if a person meets something that there is no desire in the mind for, how does he enjoy it? And we already have examples. You fall in love with a particular person. You don't fall in love with everybody who's new. Then why this person? Or I had alcohol or wine or whatever in the world I had. I loved it. Not all wines, not all alcohol. This one. So Bharat,
Is it because it's dormant that is dormant and must carry forward from
I can't hear you, Anuja. I think it's you, Anuja, but I can't hear you. Can you write? Yeah, right. Prashant, even though the object is new, its interaction mode with the sense will fall in familiar territory. But how did it become familiar territory?
But can't we ask Bharat the question that isn't that the same with something that he has value for? Like before he ever went to the gym, he didn't know what it felt like. So what created that value?
So first day he took it up, maybe we can assume that he liked it. Maybe he didn't like it, I don't know. But if he did like it the first day he took it up, then how do you explain that? You already explained it, so I don't know why the confusion. So Bharat, are you okay or not?
No, I'm not okay. Sorry, what is the answer?
Yeah, Deepraj?
So you enjoy it because you already had a desire for it. So you had a desire for it, you come into contact it first time and you enjoy it.
Anuja has said the same thing in a different way. You can read what she has written. She has written, is it because desire was dormant and carry forward from past life? Same thing. Both are saying the same thing, both are correct. Have you, you got that, right? If you claim that you cannot enjoy anything, if the baby cannot enjoy anything because the baby has got no desire, there is a carry forward. And if you say, no, I don't know whether another life exists or not, but then the combination of your desires, though, you have to accept. You do have desires. Suppose you have a desire for something sweet, something light, something celebratory. And you, for your first time in your life, you need rasmalai. I'm giving you the wrong example, no? Okay, chenna poda with no sugar, only good. Good is okay, Bharat, no?
Yes, yes.
So chenna poda or chenna kheer. Recently I had chenna kheer, very nice.
That's made of milk. He's a vegan.
Oh yeah, me vegan. Sorry, Bharat. Can't tell you chenna poda. I have to think of something else.
I'm getting all unhappiness examples.
Okay, sorry. I'm trying to think what will give you happiness. Okay, Bharat, I know it. The first time you had soya milk, how you jumped with glee to have found it, right? You've never tasted soya milk before. Then why did you love it so much? Now I'm giving you happy examples.
Yes, yes.
So why do you? Because of the past. You have had some dormant desire of something. This is the sense object for the first time you have just met, but the desire is already in you. Okay, so that's it for today. You're okay, right, Bharat?
Yes, we'll think about it. Thank you.
Okay, so we will continue next time. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Very well.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janki ji. Hari Om.
Thank you very much, Janki ji.